simple woodworking into storytelling, where a single piece of wood can become a symbol of resilience, simplicity, and connection, especially in a world overwhelmed by mass production and disposable design. And here on Wow Decor Tube, our mission is to inspire you to see that storytelling doesn't require expensive tools, massive workshops, or years of formal training, but instead begins with intention. Welcome to Wow Decor Tube, a place where wood is more than a material and every creation carries a quiet voice. Because wood art that tells a story begins long before the first cut is made, beginning instead in forests, in fallen branches, in weathered planks that once held roofs, doors, or memories. And as we open today's journey, we invite you to slow down and see wood not as something lifeless, but as something waiting to speak, because every grain line is a chapter, every knot is a pause, and every imperfection is proof that beauty grows through time, pressure, and survival. And when wood enters our homes as art, it doesn't just decorate a wall or fill a corner. It brings with it warmth, history, and a sense of calm that modern life often forgets. And this is why wood art resonates so deeply with people across cultures, generations, and lifestyles, because it feels honest, grounded, and human. And as creators, when we choose to work with wood, we are choosing to collaborate with nature rather than control it, listening to what the material wants to become rather than forcing it into something artificial. And this mindset transforms patience and respect for the material in your hands, because when you carve, sand, shape, or assemble wood with awareness, you're not just making decor, you're preserving a moment, a feeling, or an idea that someone else will one day feel when they see or touch your work. And this is where wood art becomes powerful for both creators and collectors, as it bridges the gap between the aesthetic and the personal, allowing homes to feel lived in rather than staged. And as you explore creating wood art that tells a story, you begin to notice how different textures suggest different emotions, how smooth curves evoke calm and softness, how raw edges suggest honesty and strength, and how aged surfaces whisper of time. And these elements naturally lend themselves to meaningful design. Whether the final piece becomes a wall hanging, a sculptural object, a table accent, or a small decorative form that quietly anchors a space. And for those who dream of turning creativity into a profitable business, storytelling is also what separates handmade art from ordinary products. Because people don't only buy objects, they buy meaning, atmosphere, and identity. And when your wood art carries a narrative, it becomes something customers connect with emotionally, something they want to live with, gift, or pass down. And this emotional connection is what transforms a simple craft into a lasting brand, especially in markets that value authenticity, sustainability, and craftsmanship. And as you continue this creative path, you'll discover that every decision you make, from the choice of wood to the finish you apply, becomes part of the story you're telling. Whether that story is about nature, simplicity, healing, nostalgia, or renewal. And even mistakes become valuable chapters rather than failures, because cracks can be filled, breaks can be repaired, and unexpected shapes can lead to designs you never planned. Reminding us that art, like life, rarely follows a straight line. And when you embrace this philosophy, creating wood art becomes deeply rewarding, not only financially but emotionally, because you're building something real in a digital world, something tangible in a fast-moving culture, and something meaningful in a space that often prioritizes trends over truth. And as viewers of Wow Decor Tube, you are part of this movement towards slower, more intentional living, where homes become sanctuaries and objects tell stories rather than shout for attention. And whether you are creating for yourself, for loved ones, or for customers around the world, remember that your hands are capable of translating nature into art, silence into form, and simple wood into lasting beauty. And as today's story gently comes to a close, we hope you feel inspired to look at wood differently, to listen more closely to its voice, and to trust your own creative instincts. Because every story worth telling begins with a single step, a single idea, or a single piece of wood. And if you enjoyed today's journey, let it continue beyond this video by sharing Wow Decor Tube with family and friends who appreciate nature, art, and handmade beauty. Leave a comment to tell us what kind of wood stories you want to explore next. And stay with us as we continue creating calm, meaningful decor that turns ordinary spaces into places that truly feel like home. As the story of wood art continues, it becomes clear that storytelling through wood is not about complexity, but about awareness, because even the simplest form can carry deep meaning when created with care. And as creators grow more confident, they begin to notice how their own life experiences naturally influence their designs, how moments of calm lead to softer shapes, how periods of struggle bring out stronger lines and heavier textures, and how joy often reveals itself through playful curves and warm finishes, making each piece not only a reflection of nature but also a quiet self-portrait. And this connection between maker and material is what gives wood art its soul, allowing viewers and buyers to sense that a human hand, not a machine, shape what they are seeing. And this feeling of authenticity is increasingly rare and deeply valued in modern homes, where people are searching for grounding elements that counterbalance fast-paced digital living. And when wood art enters these spaces, it acts almost like a pause button, inviting people to slow down, breathe, and reconnect with something real. And this is why wood art that tells a story works so beautifully as home decor, because it doesn't overwhelm a space, it complements it, creating harmony rather than noise. And as you continue experimenting with wood, you'll discover that storytelling doesn't require words at all, because a curve can suggest movement, a rough surface can suggest history, and a simple silhouette can suggest peace. And these visual stories speak across languages and cultures, making wood art universally appealing and especially powerful for creators who wish to reach a global audience through platforms like YouTube, where visuals and emotion matter more than explanation. And here on Wow Decor Tube, we believe that inspiration grows when shared, when one idea sparks another, when one handmade piece encourages someone else to begin their own creative journey. And this shared energy is what transforms a channel into a community, where viewers don't just watch, but imagine themselves creating, dreaming, and building alongside you. And for those who aspire to turn wood art into a business, storytelling becomes even more important, because customers are drawn not only to how a piece looks, but to why it exists, where it came from, and what it represents. And when you communicate that story through your art and your content, your work becomes memorable rather than replaceable, allowing it to stand out in crowded markets and connect with people who value meaning over mass production. And this approach also supports sustainability, as using reclaimed, fallen, or leftover wood gives new life to materials that might otherwise be wasted, reinforcing the idea that beauty can emerge from what is overlooked. And this philosophy resonates strongly with modern audiences who care about nature, intention, and responsible creativity, especially when they see how something simple can be transformed into something lasting. And as you refine your craft, you may find that your creative process itself becomes part of the story. The quiet moments of sanding, the patience required for shaping, the acceptance of imperfections, all becoming symbols of a slower, more mindful way of living. And sharing this process through video invites viewers into that calm, offering them not just entertainment, but a sense of peace and possibility. And this emotional value is what keeps people returning to Wow Decor Tube, because they are not just watching wood being shaped, they are feeling something shift within themselves, a reminder that creativity does not need to be rushed, judged, or perfected to be valuable. And as this realization settles in, both creators and viewers begin to see wood art as more than decor or income, but as a form of quiet storytelling that honors time, nature, and human touch. And as part 3 of this journey unfolds, the story deepens even further, revealing that wood art also carries the power to heal, to ground, and to inspire hope, especially for those seeking purpose in their creative lives, because working with wood teaches patience in a world addicted to speed, resilience in a culture obsessed with perfection, and presence in an age of distraction. And when these lessons are embodied in physical art, they become daily reminders within the home, gently influencing how people move through their space and their lives. And this is why wood art that tells a story is not just something you see, but something you feel, something that quietly shapes atmosphere and emotion without demanding attention. And as this video gently moves toward its closing, we invite you to carry this mindset forward, to look at wood not as a limitation, but as an invitation to see every grain as a possibility, every offcut as a beginning, and every creation as a story waiting to be told. And whether you are just starting your creative journey or have been crafting for years, remember that your story matters, your hands matter, and the art you create has the power to bring warmth, calm, and meaning into the lives of others. And here on Wow Decor Tube, we are honored to be part of that journey with you, inspiring one piece, one story, and one calm space at a time. And as we come to the end of today's episode, if this story resonated with you, take a moment to support the channel by liking, sharing, and commenting, letting us know what kind of wood stories you love to see next. And until we meet again, keep creating, keep imagining, and keep turning simple wood into stories that last.